I am Umesh Chaudhary, and I am from Rigorous Web Services. I am senior WordPress developer and team lead at Rigorous Web Services. If you like my presentation and want to know more about me, you can follow me at Twitter. Here's my Twitter handle. So here I am in front of you to present my knowledge and experience with WordPress Multisite so that I can have some of you also more interested or more involved in WordPress Multisite. First of all, I would like to say what is WordPress Multisite? Multisite is a feature included in WordPress. It has been included in WordPress since the beginning. Before WordPress Multisite, it was known as WordPress Multi-User. But since WordPress 3.0, it has been included in WordPress core and called WordPress Multisite. In WordPress Multisite, you use a single set of WordPress core and plugins and themes and host a number of sites. They can be used in multiple ways, like subdomains, subdirectories, and you will have an easy interface for managing and updating and so on. So it makes your working easy and efficient. So next is how you start a WordPress multi-site. Whenever you are working on multi-site, you begin with famous 5-minute installation. I guess if we have been working with WordPress, everyone have installed WordPress. That's just uploading the files and starting the defining the tables and more. That's the famous 5-minute installation. After the famous 5-minute installation, you go to your WP config file and make changes. Add a single line called define WP allow multisite true. So when you add this line, you have the WordPress multisite files on your WordPress, but you have to enable it. To do that, you add this line, WP allow multisite true. Adding this line will enable multisite on your network. After doing this, you log into your WordPress installation, go to the network setup interface under the tools menu, then you get to your page where you get options for activating multisite. I have used localhost, but if you are working on a site, you get the domain name, you get the option to choose subdirectories or subdomains, and you provide the site name, then admin emails. This will be your details for WordPress multisite. After doing this, you click install, then you go to a next page where you get the information that you need to include in your WordPress config file and SDXS file. When you add these files, you are logged out of your WordPress because you add some codes. Then when you again log into your WordPress, then you have a WordPress multi-site installation ready on your network. Next, I would like to talk, that was how you start a WordPress multi-site on your installation of WordPress. Next, I would like to talk about how you can take advantage of WordPress multi-site. First, you get a single managing interface. Imagine you have a set of WordPress networks or WordPress sites. You work for multiple clients, you have many sites for your own. If you have maybe 20 or 30 sites, then updating them one by one and remembering passwords and usernames for each site, that's a very difficult task for you to do. Remembering password is really tough nowadays. You keep on forgetting them. So when you are working on WordPress multi-site, you have a single installation, single set of username and passwords. You have a single interface for managing all the sites. For each and every site, you get a single interface from where you can manage for every single site on that network. That is called network dashboard. I will be telling more on the next slides. Next, you have a single installation with multiple use. Imagine you have installed WordPress, activated multi-site. Now you are ready for any kind of sites. You can use it for simple blogs. You can use it for WooCommerce. You can use it for some landing pages and more. That's how you use a single set of WordPress and use in multiple ways. That's the advantage you get from installing WordPress multi-site. Also, you install once and update plugins, themes, and you are ready for on all your network sites. Now, whenever we talk about WordPress multi-site, first thing that comes to our mind, if we have familiar with WordPress, then that is WordPress.com. WordPress.com is the biggest example using WordPress multi-site. Here I have some examples. First one is discover.wordpress.com. It is from the WordPress.com sites. Next I have blog.longreach.com. These two are example sites I have taken as reference. They both are hosted on WordPress.com, but the first one is using the domain from WordPress. It has discover.wordpress.com, but the next one is blog.longreach.com. These both are hosted on WordPress, but the second one is using its own domain. Here I want to show how you can use different domains on the multi-site network. I'd like to explain how a single installation of WordPress and multi-site are different. First, I told about WordPress network dashboard. Along with network dashboard, you get a different user, that is called super admin. He has the power to control the network dashboard or the entire network. Whenever you want a new plugin or themes activated on your multi-site, you go to super admin and network dashboard. From there, you upload a new plugin, upload a new theme. If you have some changes or updates on your plugins, then you have to go through super admin and network dashboard. Every site has a single administrator that we get when you use a single WordPress installation, but the administrator will only have the right to activate or deactivate the themes. The main control to add and update new themes and plugins are available to the super admin. So being a super admin is being like a Superman in the network. He has the control over everything on the network. Next, I would like to say about uploads directory. In a single installation of WordPress, we get the directory structure as I have shown here. You get WP admin, WP contains, and under that you get themes, plugins, and uploads. So this is the basic structure which you get when we install a single installation of WordPress. Now, when we install a WordPress multi-site, we have the same structure. I have said earlier that WordPress uses a single installation of WordPress. So in that installation, you get under the uploads folder, you get a new directory called sites. Under that sites folder, you get new folders that are indicated by the ID of the new sites you create on the network. Every new site created will have its own folder structure under which you have all the media files related to that site stored. That's how the media files are structured. Next is the database tables. While working with WordPress, unless we are some plugin developers, we rarely have to go through database tables. So when working with WordPress Multisite, I just want to show how WordPress Multisite uses different set of database tables. First of all, I have here listed the single set of WordPress tables that we get when we activate a WordPress single WordPress. But when we activate the multi-site, we get some more tables that I have included here. These tables are for registering or for records of new sites added to the network. First, I have here blogs, blog versions, registration, signups. These are for the extra tables that we get when we activate WordPress multi-site. So these are simple tables. So when we add a new site to the network, we get an extra set of tables. These are these same tables, but they are prefixed with the ID of the site. Like I have given an example here, WordPress 2, WP2, comments, meta, comments. Similarly, we get all these tables, except these two, user, meta, and user. These two tables are same for entire network. So whenever you are creating a multi-site and you create new sites on that network, you have different set of tables for each site, but the users and user meta table are same for the entire network. So how you can use WordPress multi-site? I guess here we have some agencies, some people from agencies, some are developers, some may be freelancers. So first thing I would like to say is you can use it as a demo platform. You are developing plugins, developing themes. As I said earlier, that you have single managing interface, single set of plugins and themes using for every site on the network. When you are hosting your demo on the multi-site network, you can host easily and quickly. You made a new plugin or new theme, you create a new site on your network, add that plugin, make that settings, and it's ready. You just save yourself some time. for you require to create new sites and also for updating and managing them. Next is, if you are some universities or colleges or some big companies where you have multiple departments and sections, then each of them needs some of their own different sites and different layouts and more, then you can use a WordPress multisite. Similarly, if you are a smaller, if you are an agency, and if you are managing or creating sites for your clients, and if you are self-managing them, you will be working on them, and you will be client needs add some new plugins, new themes, he will be consulting you. Then that's when you can use multi-site. Any new clients come to up and you will be managing for them, you can create a new site on your network and have that site on that network. It will be much easier, much quicker for you to work on that. So I said about how we can use and what are its benefits. Now let's talk about the challenges, the tougher parts which we have to face while working with WordPress multisites. First is managing server and resources. Whenever we are working with multisite, we are using the same set of resources but hosting multiple number of sites. Imagine you are hosting 10 sites from the same installation. Then each of that site will be making its own request. They will have their own, need some resources, and they have their own database tables. So whenever you are working with WordPress multisite, you need to plan very early. You have to imagine how big your network is going to grow. According to that, you have to plan how big resource you require. Maybe your server space, maybe your server CPU space, and other things. Usually, if you are generally while working on site, the clients want to go for shared hosting because they are cheaper and else. But whenever you are working on WordPress multisite, shared hosting are the foolish examples that you can take. Never use WordPress on a shared hosting. You have to go for a dedicated hosting with much better server specifications. So, and that will be the best even for developers, even for users and else. So plugins and themes. We have vast number of plugins and themes available on WordPress directory, and some are developed and distributed by developers themselves on their sites and other resources like Theme Forest and else, Code Canyon, such resources. So most of the plugins these days are compatible with WordPress multisite, but most of the plugins available on directory and other resources are not compatible with WordPress multisite. They may work perfect with a single installation of WordPress, but having them work on our WordPress multisite is a tough task. Sometimes the developer may have considered using it on single installation of WordPress. He might have considered everything, how it can create table and all. But while working on a WordPress multisite, he might not have considered about the table structures and how the sites are using the different resources. So while using plugins and themes for a multi-site network, you have to be very careful about its compatibility with the multi-site. And similarly, if you are working on a multi-site and you have the same managing interface and everything, but imagine if you are working on support of the multi-site network and some of your plugin or themes breaks the site. As you are using the single set of plugins and themes on the network, breaking a single plugin will break your entire network. And it will be a tough task to manage. When you are working on support, it will be a tough task to communicate with all your clients one by one. They will be communicating with you. You will have frequent emails. That will be a challenge for you to communicate with all of them and show them how you are facing problems, how you are going to managing them quickly will be a benefit for you. But still, it's a challenge for always keeping that working stage of that network is a tough challenge for you while managing the WordPress multi-site. Next is the user management. As I have shown in previous database table section, you have the same set of users for entire WordPress network, multi-site network. So whenever you add a new user registers on your network, he will be registered for the network, not for the individual site. A user will be registered for the network, but when he requires to access to a single site, he will have to register separately, or he will need to be added separately by the super admin to that site. So you will have to consider how you are going to manage users. There are multiple plugins available. You can Google them or find them on WordPress directory and other resources. So Managing users on a network is a very tough task. Now about security. As I had talked about plugins and themes and having vulnerabilities, so like the same way, if you have a set of plugins and themes and single one of them is breaking, then your entire network is going to go down. You are going to have problems. You are going to face problems. You are going to face, when your single site is down, you can manage them okay. But in a network, a single breaking plugin and theme will break your entire network. And a single bug or some fault in your codes is going to leave a big security hole. And you are going to have all the sites on your network will be vulnerable. So security and bugs are very easy to fix also, and easy to acquire, get bugs and security holes in your network is also a very tough task to manage in a multi-site network. So until now I have talked about how it's useful, how we are using it. Now I would like to say something about when we can avoid using WordPress multi-site. First is admin power. Whenever you are developing for a client or someone else, they might require to install their own themes, their own plugins. WordPress Multisite has super admin, but your client who will be administering the site, he will be the administrator of the site, and he will need the power to manage or manipulate his own plugins and themes. So in that conditions, using WordPress is the foolish condition. You won't if your clients needs to do that, you won't like to spend some time for managing those things by yourself. Next is similar site contents. There are conditions when you are working with clients, they might require to work on WordPress multi-site for just smaller things, like you have a blog site and you want a new site where you want to just share some videos or maybe some photos, travel photos, or you want to create new site like travel diaries. And they would say, I would like to do a new site for this. But when you are working with WordPress, we have many brilliant features like custom post types, taxonomies. For each of them, we have got different template file structures, and we have got, according to template hierarchy, we have got different template files. So using them also, we can create different sites for similar contents. So we won't like to go through WordPress multi-site. Instead, we will use a single installation of WordPress and use the features to enhance the use that required by the user. Next is migration works. As I have shown previously, the table structures are very, very tough we have multiple number of tables. So whenever you are developing on a WordPress multi-site, migrating that to a single site is a very tough task. Migrating simple paste posts is an easy, but migrating the setting of the site is a very tough task. So you wouldn't like to develop on a multi-site network and migrate it to some other network. Next is user privacy. Sometimes there are users only specifically registered to a site, but in a network, when a user is logged in and he goes to another site in the same network, he will see the admin bar and other sections. That is not required. So whenever you have users who have very strict sites which have very strict user policies, you wouldn't like to share the user content with any other sites, then you wouldn't be using WordPress multi-site because they are sharing the user infos. So that's how you avoid WordPress multi-site when you have the user right very much restricted to a site. Here I have some reference links which you can go before working through WordPress multi-site. First is the creator network that will be on WordPress Codex. This is the site where you will get all the information you require for what is WordPress multi-site, how you start it, and how you can work on it. Next is the support. WordPress support is with very big community. You have any questions or any problems, you go there, you get solutions. There are multiple number of people working on that. And similarly, I have WP Dev. This is the site which is mostly working on WordPress multi-site. You get you have any questions, there are different person, different community, different support team that will be helping you. So that is the end of my sharing on this WordPress. So,